Hey, 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 Nickie Brown here. No matter where you are and no matter what part of the world you're in, I hope that you're having a good day. So, um, back in the early 2000s, I moved from New Jersey to North Carolina. And at the time, I had, um, along with my friend Mark, we had a show. We were producing a show on public access in Harlem called Har- um, Grassroots. It's called Grassroots, where I was interviewing unsigned artists. And so this particular unsigned artist I met, um, I interviewed him, and he just so happened to have driven up to New Jersey from North Carolina. And so we kind of developed a bond um, because I felt like he was a very intelligent guy. And uh, so um, at the time, I was in a relationship that no longer wanted to be in. I was already planning my exit strategy because a lot of things happened in that relationship, and I was ready to go. Um, so I actually took a visit to North Carolina, and I decided to move back. I checked out a few apartment complexes, and anyway, began networking within the unsigned artists in that community, which was Greensboro. So, ended up meeting a lot of, unsigned rappers and interviewing them on a show that I had called the Nickie Brown Variety Show, who I was co-host with Shabazz and DJ Instrumental. It was like a sketch comedy show. When I presented the idea to Shabazz, I said I wanted it to be like a cross between a Carol Burnett show and an Oprah Winfrey show. So basically, sketch comedy and interviews. So at the beginning of the show, I would do my interviews, and then we would change the set and and start doing the sketch comedy. And it became very popular. The owner of the bar ended up getting shut down, so we were no longer able to do the show because we didn't have another venue to do the show at. So it's like one night we all showed up in the parking lot, and after probably about 30 minutes or to an hour, I realized there was a padlock on the door, and it was up above, so nobody could see it because it wasn't at eye level. But I just so happened to look up and saw the padlock. Anyway, during that time, I met my friend Tamika, and Tamika introduced me to a woman who went by the stage name of Goldie. Right? She was on the Flavor of Love. So we were rooting for her and hoping that she won. She is a stand-up comedian, and Tamika reminded me the other day that Goldie told a joke about Monique, and Monique got Goldie kicked off the show. And so I was like, you know what? Let me see if I can find that clip. But I found something even better. I found a recent interview with Goldie. Um, and I don't know who the guy is. I've never seen him before. But there's a lot of people in the industry.
You know this, but I auditioned when they gave New York her show.
Oh, did you?
I auditioned for it and got it and turned it down.
Did you?
I did.
Okay, so do you regret turning it down?
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Cause and this is how either naive or dumb or smart I am, right?
One of the three.
So I inboxed. This is when MySpace, I think, was popping, or Facebook. It was one of those two.
When we first got to LA, it was MySpace, but Facebook was in there too.
So it may have been MySpace then.
Okay.
I inboxed somebody who had a Steve Harvey profile.
Okay.
I asked him, I said, hey, I'm doing stand-up. Should I get on this show to get some national attention, or should I just stick to stand-up and keep grinding? He was like, keep grinding. Don't take the TV until you ready.
Until you ready, yeah.
And I turned it down. And Pookie was like, nigga, dog, go on there. Pookie was like, yeah, go on there.
Pookie was so dope during that
Yeah.
time. He was so supportive
Yes.
of me and my career at that time. Like, for real, yeah. Shout out to Pookie.
Pookie told me to go on there, and sometimes I'd be like, I should have went on there. Cause to me, he was just like, just go on there, have fun, and just like,
That's all you gotta
you know
do.
what I'm saying? Just get your name out. And I was like, dang, I should have, but I don't know.
You know, I feel exactly the same way. Being a person who did go and said yes and went on those shows, I feel the same way. At times, I feel like, man, I'm glad I did because I'm known. But at the same time, I feel like, I wish I had just waited and been more ready. Because like I said, I had just started stand-up comedy. And then you get known and people are wanting to put you into these places, but you're not ready.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's like I just had to keep grinding. And I remember one night Michael Collier was just like, I got done the Savoy. And he was just like, yeah, Goldie, you need to be more funny. Like, you need to be funny. And I was just like, I'm trying, Michael Collier. I'm doing the best I can. I'm trying to get there. You know what I mean? But you know, it takes years. It takes years to get it right.
Yes, to establish like a good act, it takes at least 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the stuff you was doing back in the day, you wouldn't even touch that material now.
At all.
At all.
Sometimes I think about the old jokes. I be like, why was I even
saying that?
why was I even
talking about that on stage? What's wrong with me? Because you just, you know, and that's really kind of how I ended up getting into that little skirmish with Monique, because I was in Atlanta performing at the Uptown. Sydney was there that night. And I'm just up, really just kind of jonesing on some of the girls that were on the show with me. And then I just threw her in the mix. Like, you know, I'm just, you roasting people. Right? And, so, you know, somebody called her and said, I'm on stage talking about it. And I'm like, wait, no, it won't like that. Like, and it really wasn't like that. I was just up, just doing some material.
Just trying to
figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, I did a whole show with her. I'm talking about Flav, but I haven't said anything about Charm School. So, like, let me try some Charm School stuff. And, you know, throwing that out there. And it just got misconstrued.
But here's the good and the bad thing about that little skirmish with Monique. Because you on the list of people like Oprah Winfrey, D.L. Hewley, Steve Harvey, Lee Daniels, Tyler Perry.
And,
You on that list of people who got into a little skirmish with Monique.
Yeah.
And Courtney Jackson. you in that list of people.
Right. You know what I mean?
Did Monique ever like come in and talk to you, or
She called me.
She called you?
She called me.
What did she say?
Did. She called me. She said, what did you say in Atlanta? And I was just like, and I'm really not even thinking. Like, I'm like, Atlanta? I said, well, we was just in Atlanta. And then she said, no, what did you say at the club? And I go, oh, yeah, well, I mean, I got the high-pitched voice. And I'm thinking like, what? You know, I mean, I was doing some material about Charm School, and I did a joke about you, and then she was like, what was the joke? And I'm like, and it really wasn't even a joke. I was really just jonesing and, you know what I mean, and just saying some stuff. And then she was just like, well, comedians don't talk about other comedians on stage. And, you know, that's not what we do. And I was just like, okay. But it wasn't nothing malicious. I wasn't trying to come for you for real. I'm just trying to figure out some funny on stage type thing. Yeah, but she really took it personal. And you know, it really broke my heart, because I didn't want that to have happened with somebody like a Monique. Like, no, my bad.
Yeah. And she didn't like try to coach you through that, or she was just like, she was like, Mom, don't talk about me on stage.
It was that. It was like that, yeah. Because, you know, she was just like, I don't feel comfortable with you anymore. I was like,
What you mean comfortable? What you mean? Cause was she touring with you, or you touring with her?
That was kind of on the table. Like that was being discussed. Like she was gonna take me on the road or whatever and do some dates, but we never did any dates or nothing like that.
Because of the Atlanta situation.
I don't think that it was just because of that. I just think it may have been a you're not ready kind of thing. You know, at that time. I don't know.
How do you get ready without the stage time?
Without the stage time to try the material that you wanna see if it's gonna work or if it don't. You know what I mean? So. And
did she even allow you like to really explain, or did you even really like explain like, look, I wasn't trying to go at it?
I did. No, I went hard. You know I did. You know I went hard on that phone because I was like, no, I want you to get, I really wasn't trying to come for you in that kind of way. I'm really just trying to find some funny in what we did on this show. And so I can talk about it on stage, you know what I mean? And, but, you know, I don't know. You know what I mean? I guess just when you're in a position like that, because I really respect her a ton. I think she's had a dope career. But, you know, I just think when you're in that position, so many people come for you that it's like, you know, she's like, oh, and you're one more? Oh, you're going to be one more person to come? Like, nah, kind of thing. So, what can you do? At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Like, I believe in God. You know what I mean? And God is where my blessings come from. So I can't really get too worked up into that didn't work or that didn't happen. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I got another blessing coming. Like, God gonna do something else. You feel me?
Yeah.
So, I ain't tripping.
I'd like to propose a toast.
So,
Family.
I was wrong about the actual show. It was Charm School and not Flavor of Love. But anyway, that's kind of basically how that went down. And like I said, I wish I could, and I thought she actually said the joke on the show, but I didn't realize it was at a club in Atlanta because like I said, I got this story from my friend Tamika, who's basically grew up in the same town as Goldie. And it's just ironic how, you know, how things play out. And like she said, it wasn't her intention to come from Monique. She was just being a comedian. And comedians tell jokes and they talk about people. They roast people. They, you know. And she was just trying to find her lane. And she didn't realize that it was inappropriate for her to say a joke about Monique. So it was kind of presented to her as like she wasn't ready for the industry. But again, how do you get ready if nobody teaches you, right? If they just take what you say personal and turn it into something that it's not. And that's kind of seems like what's going on now. And maybe it is, but maybe it isn't. But, you know, shout out to Goldie for still being in good spirit. She's a good person. And like I said, when she was on the show, I was rooting for her and, you know, wanted to see her succeed, wanted to see her win. And it's just, you know, when things like that happen, it leaves a bad taste in people's mouths. Just like one of the unsigned artists that I was friends with actually had an opportunity with a signed artist, and that signed artist actually stole their material and used it for themselves and never gave them credit or recognition for it. And these things happen all the time. Because it's like, well, what are you going to do about it? Because nobody knows you like they know this other person. So needless to say, the industry can be very cutthroat. But any industry can be cutthroat. Because it's not the industry itself, it's the people who are, as they say, the gatekeepers, right? These are the operators. And they will make up stories about you, right? They will try to discredit you. They will steal your ideas. You know how many ideas of mine have been stolen? But the copy can never be as good as the original. You can't explain the idea because it wasn't yours. You can make up something, but those original thoughts, you can't explain that. You can fake it till you make it, right? But those thoughts are not your own. But people really will go hard to sabotage you. And again, this can happen on a small level at a regular job, and obviously it can happen on a celebrity level, where you're wealthy and famous. And as they say, new levels, new devils. So the higher up the ladder you go, you know, people don't change. They just become more of who they are when they have the money. And especially if they have the money, they feel like they have the influence and the power. And if your friend next door can say, oh, well, I don't like that person, and the girl, a guy across the street will say, oh, well, since you don't like this person, I'm not going to like them either. What in the world do you think is happening when people have more money and more influence and more power? So again, there are some people who have a bad taste in their mouth about the situation with Monique and Goldie, right? For those of you who remember her. And, it's very challenging for people to do their best to find their way within the industry. But no matter what you're going through, just keep going, right? You don't have to slander anybody. You don't have to gossip and talk junk about anybody, kick their back in. You don't have to do that. You see how calm Goldie was? She was very respectful. She didn't say anything, off the cuff. She didn't even say that, Monique did anything to her. She just said, she felt like Monique felt like she wasn't ready. So I just wanted to share that with y'all. Like I said, I was hoping to find the original joke, but again, it wasn't on Charm School. It was actually at an Atlanta comedy club when she told the joke, and I forgot about that part because it's been so many years. We're talking maybe 2006, because my friend and I went out to California twice to see her and do her stand-up, and again, we were supporting her. And at that time, she was on the show. This probably was, say, between 2006 and 2008, somewhere around in there. And at the time, she's actually one of the people who introduced us into growing our natural hair, because a lot of the girls in California were wearing wigs and keeping their hair braided underneath the wig. And again, so this is like 2006. So then 2009 is when I started selling shea butter, and shortly thereafter I started making products. So again, we're talking a long time ago, and I didn't actually turn the shea butter selling and mixing up into a business until 2014. So a lot has happened since then, needless to say. But anyway, I thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you want to see more commentary like this, share your comments below. And as always, love y'all. Mwah.